Hey guys, welcome to my video today. At the end of 2021, I decided I would tackle this book, Draw Every Day, Draw Every Way by Jennifer Orkin Lewis. It's a guided sketchbook journal full of prompts for every day of an entire year. The quick details on how the book is structured. Every month has a theme and its own set of media to use. For instance, the first month is nature. We use water-based markers and black pen. And the second month's theme is food. The materials are colored pencils and black pen, and so on for the entire 12 months. Every month is different. I decided to record the progress of every prompt drawing that I do in this book, and to put them all into sequential videos, each video containing 7 of the prompts in the book, so like a week's worth. My plan was I would publish each week here on YouTube, share my process, talk about the art and the decisions I made, what was going through my head, make a time-lapse video of each drawing of the prompts with a voiceover. Then on January 4th, I had a freak accident. I was out taking a walk and I fell on my face. I was really lucky. I didn't even get a concussion. I had some deep sprains in my left hand, my dominant hand, which actually prompted me to start drawing with my non-dominant hand. Hence all the non-dominant hand drawing videos I've been posting. So it really kind of opened up this cool new world to me of, experimenting with art and experimenting with my creativity and using my non-dominant hand. My dominant hand is now fine, and I'm continuing the practice of non-dominant hand drawing because I think it's a really great way to wake up your brain in new ways and to expand your abilities with your art and with your creativity. I actually decided to not tackle any non-dominant hand drawing with this book's prompts. So everything in the Draw Every Day, Draw Every Way book is dominant hand art. So this is all done with my left hand, which is my dominant hand. So because of my fall, I'm pretty much off track in publishing weekly videos of this book, but I'm still doing it. It's going to be a regular series on my channel for the rest of the year, and I really hope you enjoy this one. This is the first one. And if you do enjoy it, that you'll come along with me on this creative ride of Draw Every Day, Draw Every Way for the rest of the series. So let's go. Week 1. Draw Every Day, Draw Every Way. So the first prompt in the book was dragonflies, and here I have selected a palette of Marvy Artwin water-based markers, which I actually think are discontinued now, and Tombow brush pens. I did set my alarm for 30 minutes. The book does specify that Jennifer started this challenge with the intention of spending 30 minutes per drawing, and you'll see that sometimes I struggle with this in both directions. Sometimes 30 minutes is simply too much time for, what I had started out doing. And sometimes it's just too little. We'll get there. You'll see one where it's not enough time. Anyway, so I'm really flying by the seat of my pants with this dragonfly drawing, and looking back on it now, I realized that going through my head was a combination of concern that the drawing would not come out quote unquote good, clashing with the fact that this was my first prompt in a book full of 365 prompts that I had to do. And really, this was the beginning of a journey, and I'm not judging myself or the work. I'm just going to do the prompt, and the really special stuff is going to come out later from looking at a lot of the prompts completed sequentially when I look through the book later. And it really is important to remember that, especially in these early stages. This is a long project. It's an experiment, and it's meant to expand the creativity and how you approach to thinking about your execution of ideas, and then the actual execution of ideas and that whole process. And so that's really what this is all about for me, and I have to constantly remind myself of this, which is another good thing to do. It's another good practice. So it does keep you in the moment. Oh, and having fun, of course, is also very important. You'll see throughout this month of prompts, a black pen is one of the materials that is specified. And sometimes I fall off the wagon with using a black pen in the prompt on a given day. I remembered it here for the dragonflies, but I will forget it here and there as we go. And one more funny thing about these dragonflies, I sort of approached them with no idea as to how I plan to actually execute them. So I just started drawing, and they came out as kind of a hybrid of imagination mixed with anatomical correctness. So I'm not sure if any of that was actually a conscious thing. I think I was just flipping back and forth. I know that I Googled dragonflies at the last minute before I started the timer and drew them, just for a little reference, but clearly they're very expressionistic and not at all realistic. But you do see some little anatomical bits here and there. On to sunflowers, a field of sunflowers here. An entire field of them. I can't even remember the last time I drew an entire field of sunflowers. And honestly, the black pen part of this required materials here is sort of throwing this off for me a bit in my execution. My mind was at odds between the markers and the black pen because I see markers as instruments of painting, more or less, painting with ink. And the black pen is an instrument of drawing. And I love to draw. So then I'm trying to balance how and when to bring in the black pen into the mix, whether I should use it later on in the process of the drawing to add details and contrast and add more strength where I want to add strength. But in the sunflowers drawing, I use it for drawing the outlines of the entire field, and then I fill in with marker to color in. I think this is the prompt where I noticed how I used the black pen, and then in the future, moving forward, I made a mental note that I wanted to use it in a different way. The next prompt is a very tall redwood. This one was fun because I never draw redwood trees, although why not? I should. I don't know why I don't, but these were fun. I drew more than one of them because they need friends. And I went very expressive and loose with this. I didn't break out any of the black pen. This is one of the times I forgot to do that. I might not have done the black ink on purpose, actually. Maybe I was giving the black ink a break that day. Anyway, I enjoyed this, and I really like the color palette. I like the simple, the warm brown and the nice warm pink. The ground and the background I did for these redwoods, the swirly pink. And this is one of those cool things that hits you in the face when you do a prompt like this. How I ended up filling in all those white spaces. It's just a really funny observation that looking at the 3 prompts that I've done so far, every speck of white is colored in. So it's just kind of funny. This next one, the aerial view of a French garden. So if you Google French garden, you see topiary. Aerial views of big manicured slabs of topiary gardens. This is the one that took me longer than 30 minutes. I also started out with pencil to give myself a guide. I thought, it's fair. It's fair. I'm not breaking any rules here. If I draw a sketch, it's on a grid. There's a lot of visual spatial gauging going on here. I don't usually draw this architectural. I am taking these prompts seriously. So if it's not evident in any other drawing, it is certainly evident in this one. I was definitely working for this one. It was out of my comfort zone. And this was the first prompt where I consciously rolled over in my mind that these prompts were really designed to sort of surprise you and push you out of your comfort zone, maybe unexpectedly, because this one was kind of a little bit of an art shock to my system. I feel like I can handle most things that get thrown at me. And I was like, wait a minute. With this aerial view of the French garden, I was just like, okay, let's stop, take a breath. We don't have time for a breath, and figure out how this is going to work out. So it really did give me some laughs and some introspection on myself. In the end, I'm proud of the final drawing, and I see I have another topiary coming up in a few weeks, so maybe this was a good practice for that one. I also realized that my marker collection is a little bit lacking in a good variety of greens, so I may need to add to my collection soon. Next up is a bunch of lavender. So one thing that is cool is that I'm using marker colors that I don't usually use. I don't usually use a lot of purples in my marker drawing life. So this was a good one to pull out all those purpley markers and see what I could do with them. This was a funny prompt because I felt like I was done literally 10 minutes into this, but I just kept going. I kept adding to it. I kept embellishing it. And it's an exercise in learning new things about yourself when you have a timer going and the prompt is to complete a marker drawing in a half hour and you feel done in 10 minutes. It's like, how do you fill the remaining 20 minutes? That was an interesting exercise, and I love that I have it all on video because I see where I put the additional time, and I remember what I felt like when I thought things were done, and I was like, what more can I do with this? In the end is very much what I do with my art when I'm not working on a timer, and I don't feel like it's already done. I embellish a lot. I add a lot of dots. I add a lot of like atmospheric embellishment, and just ornamental stuff. So it definitely still feels like me. So what that says, I don't know. But it is fun to have it here to revisit and to get to know my inner workings a little better. 3 potted herbs is the next prompt. I can say that with most of these, maybe excluding the topiary one. I'm pretty much putting the pen down on the paper without a plan, and this one I certainly did, and it totally felt like it. I didn't know what I was going to do with anything here. I didn't test out my greens on scrap paper to see what I was going to come out with. I barely even knew what herbs I was drawing, and there was definitely some surprises. And as I drew the rosemary, I wasn't loving how the color was coming out, how the gesture of the branches wasn't quite what I wanted. The movement of the sprigs, the cilantro leaves weren't thrilling me. The way they were coming out, I was kind of working with like this fast mental state of like, gotta get this done and gotta like hammer down what I'm doing with these leaves. And then the other part was not having a plan, which was a little bit uncomfortable, I guess. So again, this is just all about removing self-judgment and letting that creative execution just take over and be in the driver's seat. And that's literally what went on here as I just kept moving through this. In the end, I did remember the black pen too. I did a little bit of embellishment with a black pen at the end. The herbs I drew were cilantro, sage, and rosemary. I don't even know if you can tell, but that is what I was drawing. And here's the arrangement of succulents. I love cacti. This prompt was a treat to be faced with. I just sort of dove into this one the same way I dove into the 3 potted herbs. I actually had even less of a plan with this one than I did with the herbs because I kind of felt more connected to drawing cacti, and I really was not prepared with my pens and stuff. I don't think I prepared like a color story or anything. But one of the cool things about that conversation you're having with yourself when you're creating a drawing or whatever art you're making is that there's this back and forth that happens. You draw something in one spot, line or color, and then you're having an internal conversation about how to balance it out on the other side. Like, what are you going to balance it out with? But I was just rolling with it. I was having a lot of those conversations because I kept doing things that were a little bit out of balance for me. And it's funny when you're doing exercises like this and you're seeing the nucleus of your art identity in the drawings, but then you're also seeing the antithesis of your art identity in the drawings, because the time limit that you're giving yourself to work is actually less time than you usually have to make these decisions that you need to make. So where I did have the time in terms of like time per drawing, I had 30 minutes, but I didn't have that thinky time beforehand. So I didn't do any real concepting or anything. I just sort of jumped right in. And I was just kind of like making decisions literally as I was going, which is why some of my decisions are a little bit like, interesting. So I was just going with whatever was flowing at the time and trying to course correct as I was going. Course correcting like that is going to yield different results when you're using different media. For the media I have this month is marker and black pen, and there's no cover up happening there. So it's like you put your ink down, it's not going anywhere. Like I can't erase. I didn't have any paint pens. I had nothing opaque here to use to put over anything. So when I hit a snag, it was really an exercise in, okay, what are we going to do now to correct this situation as much as possible, given the fact that there is no erase and there is no cover up and do over. But again, I like how it came out because I'm enjoying the journey. So I hope you enjoyed this walk through my thought process in doing the first 7 prompts in Draw Every Day, Draw Every Way. Please do let me know if you like this video and if you like this idea for this series, let me know. If you want to get a copy of this book and follow along with me and also support my channel in the process, you can order a copy through the link in the description. It's an Amazon link. It's an affiliate link. Please do like this video and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.